go up.
What's the relationship between the admins, the very established editors, and new or unregistered people that show up?
There is a misunderstanding there. Admins in Wikipedia are the enforcers. And that means that you're not going to become an admin unless you're an experienced editor. But it gives you no special rights in terms of editing. There's no review board. There's no one to appeal to. This is an extraordinarily flat effort in the sense that if there is a disagreement at a particular article, basically the expectation is that there will be a discussion among editors, there will be some sort of consensus arrived at, and that will determine what the article says. And there's no one to review that. And if, as for example, the John Edwards article got very nasty when the National Enquirer had run some stories and none of the mainstream press had picked it up because Wikipedia doesn't allow you to quote the National Enquirer. It's not a reliable source. And so what happened was the article got locked down for a number of days until finally John Edwards admitted that he had seen this woman in a hotel. And at that point, it was in the New York Times, and at that point you could open the article up to editing. But there was just a phenomenal fight between people who thought there was enough evidence and enough information. Fox News had mentioned the National Enquirer story, so therefore it was mentioned in a reliable source. There was people who thought there was enough something to put something there. There was enough smoke that there had to be some kind of mention of this potential fire. And there were people who thought, no, this is a violation of John Edwards' rights. And there was no resolve. There was no consensus arrived at. The editors simply could not agree to what should be done. And the stuff kept getting put in and taken out and put in and taken out and put in and taken out. And an admin locked the page down. And there was no changes.
And in processes like this, how strict are the rules that the admins are following and enforcing? What degree is this kind of consensus?
Well, any editor can enforce the rule that says if you put some negative or controversial information about a person in, it has to be sourced. There must be a reliable source for it. You may have personally seen John Edwards go into that hotel. That gives you no right to update that article, to cite yourself, to say what you saw with your own two eyes. You're not a reliable source as far as Wikipedia defines it. But that is enforced, that provision is enforced by anybody. And admins acting as removing stuff that's inappropriate are doing nothing more than acting as an editor. It's when you can't get consensus, when there's excessive vandalism, temporarily you may protect the page. But the admins are the enforcers, and they're not senior editors. I mean, they are experienced editors, but there are a lot of people with more experience than them who are not admins. So it's a very funny world in which somehow the rules are such that you manage, although there's fires burning in a few articles or a few hundred articles at any given time, it tends to look quiet most of the places.
And how does that contrast your operation? It's a lot more structured. Are there super user roles that are defined that have more of a community building aspect, or is it people attach their names to things on your site? Does that preclude a lot of these problems?
I'd say it does because we have a single gatekeeper, and that's our organization. A person cannot create their own profile and then go on the site and edit it. They have to write to the organization, write to Procon, and say, I didn't graduate from Wesleyan, I graduated from Harvard. You say, oh, okay, then we'll investigate and say, yeah, sure enough, they graduated from Harvard, and then update the site. So there is that layer of quality control. And with the internet, what's interesting is there's typically a rush, the need that we're dealing with internet time, whatever that means, and so I need to get content online immediately, whereas we take a stand-back approach saying, we'd rather get it right than do it quickly. And so that's what we do, is we'll do the right research in order to make sure that the information provided is correct.
You have how many topics?
We have 20 main topics, but within each topic there's multiple layers, and so it ends up being about 1,000 questions total that we have on our sites, and that's just questions. Then each site has a layer of projects and resources where we commit a large portion of our resources to investigating issues like how much methane do cows emit. state by state by state, and how much does that contribute to air pollution? That might be one of our points.
And so is that a pretty comprehensive spectrum, or do you have users requesting new topics a lot?
We have users requesting new topics every day.
What do you do?
It takes us about 1,000 to 2,000 hours to build one topic, and that's hiring somebody with an advanced education who has experience doing professional research, and that's what they do all day long. It's a big undertaking for us. Our organization has a budget of under $1 million. There's fewer than 10 people on a full-time staff, and we get very little contribution from volunteers and interns that we can account for. So for this small entity to do what we do, it has to be extremely focused. And that's why we're so picky about picking new topics. If we get 4 topics in a year, that's a good year. This year we've done one on alternative energy, which is it's a huge topic. Big Sky has taken on has a whole organization devoted to that, where it requires this collaboration. And here we have a handful of people in an office in Santa Monica pursuing a similar effort. So.
That's good. And so, Michael, we've seen things. The full spectrum here is almost what we have from Procon to Wikipedia. Somewhere in between are things like user-submitted ads, like MoveOn did, right? And you have both the advantages and the risk there of Wikipedia, and we saw that was a continuing smear used against MoveOn was the Hitler ad, and MoveOn, had this Hitler ad. So, from a campaign perspective, how loose have you had the reins, and what are the consequences and advantages?
I think there's a common misperception, or it's easy for us to confuse collaboration and participation. And I think in terms of a lot of online campaigning, we're actually just talking about participatory campaigns. And I think, I'd love to hear more about I think Wikipedia is an example of both in some ways. I'd be curious your opinion, but we're in participation, we're asking people to engage and to answer questions, to submit a video, contests, online, giving people specific organizing ideas that they should, organize an event around. Sure, that requires some local collaboration, but when we're talking about online collaboration, true collaboration of, hey, a bunch of us getting together to come up with something that's greater than what one individual may have been able to come up with, that's, I think, pretty rare actually in the online campaign, and more of a campaigning or advocacy context. And I think it's become, there's not really a line that anyone has, I think because all this is so new, we're blurring the lines, but I think true collaboration in the sense of maybe how do the Wikipedia editors come up with a process, or I'm speaking a little bit out of school, should have chosen an example, someone who's not on the panel, but where you have participation, I think Wiki's an easy one. You've got a lot of people who can participate in adding content, but then the collaboration process of editing or of deciding what goes in what stays is kind of a different beast. And so there's very little of true collaboration, I would say, in terms of online campaigning. You're asking, normally what we're doing is asking a whole bunch of people. We can take examples from even the Obama campaign. We're asking a whole bunch of people to participate in some sort of public ask, right? And people can see the impact of what they're doing add up, right? Great, all these videos got added, or all these donations got made. I can see how my participation adds up, and all of us, it makes people collaborative, but it's not collaboration in the sense of, okay, you gave $10, and if I gave another 20, then that means we'll achieve our goal by doing this.
And on that note, what have you found to be the most effective ways of keeping participants or collaborators involved, and what has just fallen flat?
I think that the communication needs are pretty different between, say, participants and collaborators, whereas participants need some sense of how my involvement is going to add up, right? It's going to roll up into something larger than myself. It's going to have some sort of real-world impact, right? And you can see that. So, say, take a very, a common example is a petition. In an advocacy context, we say, hey, the state of Oregon is going to cut the budget